This is a little introduction to the video that you're about to watch. I've had this video hanging out in my library for a very long time. Um, it honestly gives me a lot of anxiety, not because of what's in the video, but because of who I'm talking to. Um, After a couple conversations with, close friends of mine, I've decided to make this like a almost like a tribute interview. When I originally made this video, I wanted it to be a series. I had planned to meet with this individual multiple times, um, and just try to get more and more of his story. Just because, one, he's that interesting, and two, I don't know, some kind of experimental thing for myself, I guess. I want to get better at talking to people and having conversations and stuff. Um, It's just really hard for me. I think that's a whole nother conversation to be had. But in regards to this video, I am speaking to, yeah, I would say a good friend of mine by the name of Bob Ford. He was my neighbor for a while. Mine and my wife's, he was our neighbor. And if I'm not mistaken, he is gone now. And I say it like that because I'm just not entirely sure. Um, he was having a hard time. He was in the hospital when I was like on my way out to deploy, and we had planned to go and see him before I left, and just really didn't get around to it. And once I left, my wife told me that all his stuff is gone. He's moved out. At this point, there's new people. They're living in his home. So it's not really his home anymore. So yeah. But every time I think about posting this video, it just does something to me. Like it really, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this interview, this conversation I have with him. And yeah, man, shouts out to Bob Ford. Um, I hope this is working. I wasn't really good at like being given certain tasks and whatnot. Like those when I was in school and I had teachers that basically gave us like, hey, here's a whole bunch of crap
Right,
that you just got to do,
right,
you know, get it done. In the beginning, it seemed pretty straightforward. It's like, oh,
right,
all I got to do is do it. But like by the time into this year, the semester
right,
came around, it was like, oh crap,
right,
because I didn't do anything.
right. Procrastination, and that's what I'm dealing with right now with a lot of these students. Because about midway through the semester, I had to just put a break on in class stuff, so that threw a lot on their shoulders.
Hmm.
But I took that in consideration, especially calculating final grades. But I'm really impressed how they've rallied up and got through the semester more or less
Hmm.
in their own management way, because that's what I push is never copycat anybody. Take their ideas, see what you like, what you don't like, make changes where you need to.
Right. But no plagiarism.
Use their concept, but don't use their words
Right.
because you don't know what their words meant. Because that's just like an author when they go to writing a story. Well, it's in their head, and they're trying. If they're good enough, they're trying to pass on that picture that's in their head to your head.
Right.
But when you go to memorizing script, characters, and conduct, especially in management roles, that's where a lot of people mess up.
Hmm.
They'll have a really good manager, and then they try to copycat off a hint or her, and it just never works because personalities are different. Knowledge is different.
Mm-hmm.
Experience is different in everybody.
Yeah.
And then they get frustrated, and all before too long, they're a disgruntled employee. And instead of being a star, you know, now they're booted out. You're out of the circle, especially in company cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I push my kids just to be thinkers. This is what you got. This is what you want. Well,
How do
what's
you
it
get
going to
there?
take
Yeah.
to get that?
Right.
I said, it's your own opinion. I said, because nothing's written in a book. So all those fillers, that is your map, and you're the one that's making the decision. I need to do this so I can do this,
Mm-hmm.
but I got to do that before I can do that. I said, that's life. And I said, that's how you become the star manager, the the superstar. I got buddies out there that's making millions because they're on percentage. They get a base salary, and then any value engineering or schedule completion bonuses and stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
is extreme because they'll go a percentage of the whole contract. And now, when $100 million contract is nothing, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Back in my days, $1 million contract was just blow your mind. But we
Right.
didn't have computers. We didn't have cell phone. I remember the first phone they ever issued me weighed about 80 pounds. Yeah, this suitcase you had to tow
No.
with it.
Well, like the big brick phones like back in
Yeah,
the day.
it had its own little carrying case, and you'd unzip it and pull it out. And I think the first one I got, I had to have a radio, had an antenna on it, and you had to pull that antenna up before it. Yeah, when they come out with pagers, I was working for Guardian Industrial Services out in Atlanta, and they had 9 divisions in their company,
Hmm.
and I was assigned a pager for every one of them because I was that guy.
Right.
And I'd be out at the club partying, and all of a sudden, then you'd have to run and find a payphone.
Yeah.
You know, God, I'll never forget those days. Which I had a lot of responsibility as a young man, but that's the way I was raised. I was a MacGyver type that got kicked out on the farm with his grandpa every summer since he was about 5 years old.
Hmm.
And Grandpa taught me the ropes of life on how to tinker and find solutions to fix problems. That was my grandpa, and I can remember he was a little rigorous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There wasn't no laid up watching cartoons on Saturdays.
Well, you know what? That reminds me. So first of all, they know me, but
Yeah.
go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Bob Ford, professor at construction management, kind of an extraordinaire of all. You won't find a lot of me walking the streets
Mm,
anymore.
unless he lives right down the street.
Yeah, but yeah, I born in the '60s, teenager in the '70s,
Mm,
20-year-old in the '80s,
right.
30-year-old in the '90s. So you can just see why I am the way I
Yeah,
am
man.
today.
All those decades that people my age think about, and they're like, man, like I can just imagine, this, like, all those decades that people my age wish they lived in.
Right,
You actually went through.
right. I can remember as a kid friends coming in crying and stuff because that's during the years of Vietnam.
Mm,
And we were sending babies over to the jungles, and so when all these new wars have come out between now and then, people my age don't really take that to heart because we've been there, done that.
right.
In the '70s, we had a lot of racial problems in the United States,
Mm,
campuses and streets and stuff. It was horrible, all instigated by propaganda mess.
mm,
I put over 1 million miles in a big truck. I've had addresses for in 37 different states, and I have never witnessed uh, a cross burning or a gathering of sheets, or it's never hit me like, man, this is a racial biased bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Now you find individuals that have personality problems,
Right.
but they don't care what color you are. They hate everybody, you know. But that's why when I had opportunity, you know, at 39 to go back to school
Mm-hmm.
through a NAFTA trade program, I took advantage of it. I didn't need to. I was probably spending six figures a year. I was happy camper, you know, still doing my same old thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, God kind of hit me in the head and said, "Take advantage of this opportunity, boy." And I did, and I got a full ride scholarship to Texas A&M University at
Hey.
42 years old. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
finished my undergrad degree there and finished with honors. And
Yeah.
what I was trying to do was balance the scales from that 20 plus years prior to my dad's funeral in 97.
Mm.
I was trying to make up for some of them wrongs I did. Guilt was eating me up worse than this cancer is right now. But you know, it come out to be a good thing because here it is 20 something years later. I've got students all over really the world now because I had several of them go into international industries.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I've balanced those scales out, and now I'm shooting towards them pearly gates. You know, I mean, the more confident you walk up to them gates, the better chances are they're going to open let you in. You know what I mean? And I personally believe that's a conscious thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so there's where I'm shooting from now. But yeah, God's provided me a heck of an opportunity, and I'm an old scoundrel. You know, I run with bad people. Why? Because that's who I worked with. That was so all them old boys coming out of Vietnam, they had a lot of mental problems. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, that's what all the movies and the shows that come
No,
out about that.
and
That's what we get.
it was there. It was real. I had several people that I'd worked with in the past that their wives had called me because I was a single guy, you know, knucklehead,
Mm-hmm.
and say he's out in the woods again. You know, he's having one of those attacks. Well, I'd go out in the woods and find him.
Yeah.
Tony Doss was a dear friend of mine. Matter of fact, I bought a El Camino off of him right before he passed on. But there were so many guys involved with the construction industry back then that were related to that Vietnam War,
Yeah.
you know, and because I think that was their way of not punching a time clock kind of thing
Yeah.
where it's being repetitious. They couldn't do anything like that. They couldn't sit in a production line or a manufacturing area and maintain.
Yeah. They get too caught up in their mind.
Oh yeah, and some of the biker guys, especially down in Texas in the pipeline and stuff,
Mm.
you know, they doing drugs and stuff at work. That was their culture. They had to do them. They'd do mescaline and acid drops and things like that, trying to weld. And why? Because they were riding two wheels. And they'd tell you, well, you know, I drink all night and got to have some way to drive my bike. So I do the. That's that was their
That
mind.
was balance.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
how they justified doing it. And back in those days, they made it out of red phosphorus, the match heads. You know, like today, the meth they banned or put a hold on the uh, uh, medicines, the capsules for
Mm-hmm.
sinus pains and stuff. Well, back then it was the white tip matches, and they would sit there all day, and usually girls, but they'd sit there with a knife and knock that white tip off of each of them matches, and
Mm-hmm.
there'd just be boxes. Well, that's how they made their bathtub crank. They called it. I witnessed all this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you get invited to a party, you'll say, "Well, what are they doing back? What's them girls doing over there?" You know, they
Yeah.
tell you, you go, okay.
All right.
But yeah, running with bikers, that was always entertaining because they'd always want me to join, and I never would.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people ask me today, well, you don't have tattoos? And I, well, heck no. Back in my day, a tattoo was an identifier. Not everybody had them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you stood out in the crowd, who are they going to remember? The one that's easiest to remember.
Right.
And to this day, I still don't have any ink just because of that. And I mean, I've had people spend money on me, get me drunk, and trying to get me in that door, that tattoo parlor, and that smell back then. You could smell where you was at.
Mm-hmm.
And they say I just start backing up like a mule. No,
I'm not
mama
doing
whoop me.
it.
You know?
Yeah. Hey, nowadays everybody's got tattoos,
Oh
so
yeah.
you not having tattoos would be the identifier at this
Right.
point.
Right.
Like almost everybody I knew, like that I still kind of keep up with
Right.
back in high school. A few of my friends, I probably can name one or two friends that I still talk to that don't have
Right.
tattoos. The rest of them at this point, they're sleeved up,
Oh
like
yeah.
all
Well,
types.
I've noticed that you know, there's a lot of girls that you would never think. I call them Sunday school girls
Mm,
because they look like they should be in Sunday school. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And you'll look, and then they'll have some kind of a tat somewhere, maybe
Yeah,
be just a little
just a
bitty one.
tiny little
You know,
something.
and you go, wow, you know, that kind of threw me off. But social norms, you know, they change every decade
Mm-hmm.
because that's what we do in society. We got advertisers and we got the media and we got all these people that's making money off of us.
Right.
That's kind of steering everything. And if you don't learn how to adapt to that, you can never be self sufficient.
Mm.
And that's what scares me about today. I know people that would starve to death if something happened. They couldn't go down there and get whatever they wanted accommodated
Yeah.
at the drop of a dime. Where I can walk off into the woods and live, you know, with nothing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't really know if I can say the same.
Yeah, but
I've
that's
I've seen a lot of shows, but I
yeah.
don't know if I
Well,
can.
that's the way my generation was raised
Right.
because our grandfathers and stuff and our parents were kids under the Great Depression.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
things don't start. You know, it's like a squid or an octopus, and they don't get really pretty until they get them tentacles all out there. And that's what's happened every 5 to 10 years. The social norms change.
Mm-hmm.
People adapt to that change.
Mm-hmm.
Now the past has been forgotten, the morals and the ethics and manners.
Yeah.
You know, I get on this stupid phone sometimes at YouTube and road rage incidents.
They're ridiculous.
My goodness.
Out in Vegas, they were bad. I
Oh,
heard one. Something happened on the road. They get to the light. I think like the lady like either rolled down the window or said something like,
uh,
"Hey, blah blah." Blah." I don't even think she really cursed or anything.
yeah.
The other person just rolled down the window, fired a
Yeah.
shot, took off. Like, I mean, it went from people getting out their cars and fighting to now it's just straight to the gun. Like,
Yeah. Well,
all
San
right,
Antonio, when I was down there, that's where brother was. And so I went down there for about 5, 6 months and stayed with him after I retired.
mm,
But they was popping off. And you go, are you kidding me? You
yeah,
know, over driving, not getting somewhere 40 seconds faster than, because people don't understand distance measurement. I go guess miles per hour. But you've probably been there where somebody pass you in a double line, yellow line curve, and at the next town you pull up right behind them at the stoplight.
yeah, yeah.
I always try to make sure they see me. Remember you passing me on the curve to hurry up and get here?
All right, we both got here, buddy.
but, but yeah, it's I look at life totally different. Now that I'm dealing with this cancer and all that mess, because I've never thought about death because it doesn't scare me.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've been exposed to enough of it where I accept the fact that the main feature of life is death.
Yeah.
It's going to happen sooner
We
or
live to
later.
die.
You just got to do your best to manage as much length of time, duration of time as you can, and try to do it in a way that's friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, at one time in my life, I was a knucklehead. Believe me, I had quite a reputation, especially at the bars, because I wouldn't tolerate girls getting slapped on or
Mm-hmm.
none of that kind of mess.
Yeah.
Bullying. I was a bully basher.
Yeah. You
Oh
bullied the
yeah,
bully.
back down in the day of Texas when they just opened Billy Bob's and all them bars.
Mm.
Well, I was a frequent flyer to most of them because they all had big parking lots. That I was in my big truck, I could have a place to park, and get in. But oh man, some stories. I remember one night I was about 22, 23, down there at Billy Bob's, and 4 or 5 guys was roostering up around me, and I just got crazy. Well, next thing I knew, I got threw out, and they didn't. Well, when I come to, went to walk off, somebody grabbed me again, and it really freaked me out. I just turned around and swung. Well, it was a deputy sheriff, female.
Oh,
Yeah, weighed
double
about
bad.
260.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I seen what had happened, and I just run over and got in her car. I got in the back seat of her car, and all of a sudden, all these other cops show up, and they're out there searching around. And she was saying, "He hit me in the mouth," and she was bleeding and everything.
Yeah.
They was looking around. The bar people, were talking to him. And that one bouncer looked up. He said, "Hell, he's over there in the back seat of your car." And I was up there, I had both hands up
Yeah.
there. You know what I'm saying? That judge whacked me on that one, but I got thousands of stories like that because that's all I did. I'd worked and I played.
Yeah.
You know, I got close to getting married twice, 10 years apart.
Okay.
Uh, I didn't trust a whole lot of them anyway because I was the best man in 7 weddings before I was 23 or 4 because my buddies having a good time on Saturday night. So I took care of all that early. And so I knew I wasn't going to ever have to get married because I got somebody pregnant because I cut that bridge, blew that out of the water.
Mm.
And even have through the years, 2 girls tried to take me to court and sue me for being the daddy. And I just waved my little letter at the judge. That's not possible, Your Honor. It's my 21st birthday present I give myself.
No way, that's my kid, buddy.
Well, I worked road crews,
Mm-hmm.
and the cheating that goes on with them poor boys because they're out there on the road. They work 12-hour days, sometimes more, and they're living in a motel room.
Mm-hmm.
And then mama's at home, generally with the cousin or the best friend coming by to check on them every once in a while. Well, after years of hearing those stories, you kind of go cold on that rock hard romance. You'd just rather have a friend with a benefit or two.
Mm-hmm.
And through the years, I just patronized the working girls. They're working anyway. That alleviated a lot of pressure off of me
Right.
as far as all of that. But that's what's so great about life. Everybody's different. Everybody's got a different viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Thankfully, every once in a while you run across somebody that's got similarities that you can associate with and grow and build a relationship with. But that's getting harder to do. Nobody has a personality anymore.
I mean, yeah, unless you're literally on the computer.
That's the personalities
Yeah.
that you used to meet in person and have a memory of. Well, now you don't even want to look at folks like that because you know it's just they're getting a penny every time I look at that thing, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm curious to see how it's going to come out in another 10 years when, you know, people my age are gone. And then our generation, maybe the one before us, were probably the last ones exposed to the old social norms.
Hmm.
You know, I can remember getting punishment from strangers in stores.
Yeah, no, it's not a thing no more.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You'd wind up
Yeah,
in prison. You know what I mean?
right.
Child abuse. But yeah, I've had whippings and stuff. Then they'd tell my mom and dad, and I'd get another whipping because I got a whipping from some stranger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like not a thing anymore because
No,
people don't talk, people don't socialize. The
no, and that's so
only
sad.
socializing you really get is online. That's the reason why they keep coming out with these new like online worlds, the
Right.
metaverse and all that stuff. People are more likely to come home, put on the headset, and then dive into some,
Virtual
yeah,
world. Yeah.
virtual world where that's where they go and they have their
Yeah.
interactions, they talk to people. People are very confident when they're behind the screen.
Oh, yeah.
See them in real life, they won't say anything to you.
Right.
People just they walk around like almost every day when I go to work, like driving out and seeing all those kids walking, they're
Yeah.
all just built like this,
Yeah.
walking to wherever they believe they're going
You're right.
and just looking into a phone. And it's like, man, like I'd sometimes catch myself
Oh,
like I'll
yeah.
just throw my phone because it's
Right.
like I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. Like, but it's like it's a lot harder to socialize now. I try to work on my social
Oh,
skills.
yeah.
I try to keep up with them because I know when I was younger, I was always talking to everybody,
Right.
and then it just slowly turned into now where I get so much anxiety when
Yeah.
it comes to just having a conversation, talking to someone.
Right.
If someone calls me on the phone, I get nervous
Oh,
because I like don't know. I feel like I don't know what to say,
right.
and it's like,
You don't want to say something that's going to hurt your feelings
well,
or
yeah,
trigger
and
them.
exactly. Like I don't the triggering. Like
Oh,
it's don't get me wrong, I like that's where respect comes from and like just understanding people's like boundaries and lines,
right.
but you only build that by talking and also by being like forgiving. But
Right.
that's two things that people don't do
Yeah.
today. And it makes it really hard. But
I blow people's mind because my personality is, yeah,
right.
I don't
Yeah.
hide nothing back. But even my students appreciate that because one, they know I'm sincere about it.
Yeah.
And so if I need some sarcasms or something about something they're doing, they generally accept it because they know I'm not trying to poke a bear. I'm actually telling them my opinion,
Right.
and it's really tough for me because I see, like at Walmart, I can see somebody with the pink hair, blue hair, piercings. Well, I can read what's going on in their minds and their mental health side.
Yeah.
And I got a bad habit of walking up and, is there something I could help you with? You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I've experienced too much suicide, so much. There's so many preventive measures that you could take, even if it's approaching somebody that you can tell has a bad day or is having a bad day.
Hmm.
Just saying, well, I just wanted to say, hope you have a great day. Things get better. I said, just some encouragement sometimes can make a difference.
Right.
I said, but to shun them, oh, they're suicidal. I don't even want to talk to them. Well, you're kind of pushing them off the cliff,
Right.
you know, because if somebody don't take an initiative, sometimes that can reflect back in a negative way. Well, nobody cares, blah, blah, blah. So it's pretty tough anymore to be a Dr. Phil, you know, uh, And that's what I've been more or less of my whole life with crews.
Mhm.
You got to have a good crew on these road crews, especially in specialty applications where not everybody can do the job,
Mhm.
either through because of equipment investments or training needs or whatever. So you get these specialty crews, and they kind of bond in their own little families because they spend so much time together, traveling and working. But I just, you know, they, I just don't see how we can keep maintaining growth and advancement and technology and housing, whatever it is, roadways, infrastructures,
Mhm.
without communicating. Even in construction management, like I teach my kids, it's not about the content that's in that set of drawings. It's how you take the scope of work associated with that construction documents and have someone else that you have no control over implement it to satisfaction as far as contract needs. You've got to communicate to get that done,
Right.
you know, and I don't know that there's some trades or some career paths that require you to have that skill.
Mhm.
And you better know human behaviors. See, that's what they don't teach anymore either. Personality traits,
Right.
learning styles. Well, that's stuff that when I was doing my graduate work, my research work, uh, I took 36 hours of that stuff. Why? Because I realized I've been pushing crews for over 20 years very successfully,
Mhm.
but I had never thought about some of the things that I learned through that graduate program, especially about learning styles. I figured it's my way or the highway. Well, I probably implement 5 or 6 different types of curriculum in every class I teach because I'll use visuals. I have for readers. I try to vary my content to fit the needs of anybody's learning style,
Mhm.
and I get I get little notes. All these I got probably 80 final papers over there, and I bet half of them in the conclusion chapter have got something about how they appreciate how I do stuff,
Right.
teaching in the classroom. But that's my old field experience. I didn't go to college till I was 39. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, uh,
I mean, but you were probably far more well equipped
oh
to go
yeah,
through college at that point.
yeah. And once I got determined that I did it. I started out doing it in spite
Mhm.
through a NAFTA agreement benefit. French Canadians come down and bought a plant there in Hot Springs, and within a year they liquidated it and moved all the production equipment up to Canada, make doors up there.
Mhm.
And you could either relocate to Canada, you could take a year's lump sum salary, or go to school. Well, 95% of them took that year's salary
Mhm.
check with 45, $50,000, whatever. Well, I took the 2 years school.
Might as well.
Yeah. And when I got in there, I got into that Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. And I felt like I can help both the campus and the community with my connections I had. Now, I've been brokering loads with my own truck for years, so I knew everybody,
Mhm.
especially in manufacturing and people like that. Uh, but I got a hold of lawyers and bankers and all kinds of folks there in Hot Springs area, and we helped us. They call it Garland County Foster Parents Association, and that was my big thing that kicked off all that service that I've done since then. Is giving back to foster kids, because that's the one group that I feel like need reparations. If they go through that system at 18 years old and they still haven't been adopted, well, they have no resources available to them. There's a few camps that if they get into there early enough and participate, they can go to a trade program, trade school, or something like that through their foundations. But as far as resources,
They got nothing.
they ain't got nothing.
Well, isn't it? Because I don't fully know, but
Yeah.
I mean, I know like Imani, she probably would know. But once they go through like the not adoption, but like the whole orphanage
Right.
system. Once they turn 18, they just pretty much send them out, right?
Right.
Like it's like okay,
Yeah. See ya.
no raising from
Yeah.
here. Like you just
Yeah.
go become an adult. Like what do they have from there? Like what have they learned?
Yeah. Who was their guidance counselor?
Right. Like are they
Who was their
getting
mentor, their
yeah.
advisor?
Like they don't have parents, so do we
No.
have anyone who is like doing something like that, or are you guys
Right.
just holding them here and watching them until they grow up and then you
Right.
just push them right
Oh,
back out, and then we wonder why we have so many homeless people and
oh yeah.
all the mental health going on today. Like
Oh yeah. It's some of these neighborhoods that I used to deliver to all over the country. I see shots of them in Detroit, Philly, different places, and I go, man, I was down in that warehouse district several times. It never looked like that,
right.
where they're all drugged out and they just homeless everywhere, poop, and it's just nasty.
I
And
heard that's how is it Washington,
probably,
Seattle sort of area? That's kind of how, like, especially after they had like legalized, like,
yeah, drugs,
yeah,
anything, heroin, whatever. Go ahead.
yeah. It was like you could just walk down the street and just you're just seeing needles.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's an unfortunate mess, and there's only one way to cure that. One, you got to cut off the source,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got to rehabilitate. Well, it's kind of hard to rehabilitate somebody that's been forced to stop something. You know what I mean? They've kind of got to make that decision on their own, and it's never going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen companies invest in good people, good worker skills, and never win the game. Because no matter how much rehab they had, they always run across somebody that would light and ignite the spark again. So unless they want to quit themselves and make a commitment to do it, most of those programs they don't work because there's no heart in it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what's tough because especially now, I could imagine drug rehab facilities 50 grand or better for probably a 30-day session anymore.
Mm.
Because it was pretty expensive back when I was young, and so I just,
Well, it's the fact that we require people to pay
yeah,
for help. Like, shouldn't we just help them?
yeah,
Like,
especially when you got a budget line from the government for billions of dollars.
right? Yeah.
You can go have your gala, but you can't go help the people in the streets. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I've seen a lot of things in the last 50 years. Really, I mean, big changes. You know,
What would you say is? Let me see. What would you say is the I guess one thing you didn't see when you were like 20 that you see like now.
I think it's you you know, when I was 20, we all ganged up together. There was a busload on every car or truck or anything that was in the parking lot because we hung together. And then
Right.
through the week, we'd meet up 2 or 3 times, you know, at night, socializing or, you know, catting around. You just don't see that, the gathering of buddies,
Mm.
you know. Uh, Even if you go to a bowling ring, it's not the same as when we were going to the bowling ring. When, you know, be families in there, families that had been doing that
For
for
years.
years. You
Yeah.
know, uh, that's what thing I did notice is that everybody is so isolated. I don't know if it's people blame it on the pandemic. Yeah, maybe. I still don't think that.
I think the pandemic fueled that.
Yeah.
It made it worse.
Well,
But
but it
we
was
were doing that
acceptable,
already.
see. So now they feel comfortable because I'm accepted for being isolator.
Mhm.
Because I kind of isolate myself. I get scolded all the time. Uh, you know, these women, their husbands die off my age, and then they find out I've never been married, and they go to blinking them eyes and stuff. And I go, whoa, wait a minute. You know, no, it didn't happen in the last 40 years. Doubt very seriously it's going to happen in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just can't dive into that pool. But yeah, that's that isolation thing. That's what's, and you know, you know, I'm kind of out of shape and everything, but I see these kids. It's 250, 300 pounds over their recommended weight.
Yeah. Don't tell them they're
You
obese.
can't,
So,
or unhealthy, or
yeah.
and 90% of those have the, I call it the mutilation, the tattoos and piercings, and kind of like you're mutilating your body for some reason, you know.
Well, it's because people are trying to, like, they're trying to find they're trying to find their own
Right. Yeah.
themselves. They're trying to build a personality. They're trying to build themselves, but at the same time, it's like they're trying to tell the world something without saying it.
Right. But, you know, that's, you know, a lot of my generation, we had guidance counselors. Their job was to profile every kid going down the hall. They saw a kid that had dysfunction traits or
Mm-hmm.
behaviors. Will you come into my office and talk with me? They'd pull them out and they'd get them help or try.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's trying that.
Yeah.
Hands off, you know. And that's one thing that bothers me.
Make sure of something. Okay, we're good. I just got a phone call.
But yeah, it's a different world than back in my day. And I don't know if it's any better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm no better off today than I was when I was in my 20s as far as finances, because I don't see any change in that,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't never had commitments or obligations. So I'm not like a person that had a mortgage, car payment, health insurance for kids, and none of that.
Yeah.
Majority of my life, it was, I don't know how many times I have packed that suitcase in the last 15 years, 20 years, but I guarantee it's pushing 1,000. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But especially when I was still doing contract work, because back then I had the liberties of doing whatever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I had that Freightliner I had it brokered through good friend of mine named Doyd Norton
Mm-hmm.
had a company in Little Rock called Lease Drivers Incorporated. And what he did was provide professional licensed, insured, drug tested drivers to companies that had fleets. They had somebody call in sick, can't make this run. Doy would furnish a professional driver that was ready to go.
Mm.
Okay. Well, I brokered my truck through him. And when I was out doing a contract in the industry, he would have drivers driving my truck delivering stuff out of Little Rock.
Okay.
So I got paid by the mile no matter. So I did that 13 or 14, 15 years. So when you're young and you don't have any commitments, and obligations, and some of those contracts, especially ones that are international, 6 figures wasn't nothing on
Right.
some of them. Now, when you get back over here and you have to pay the piper, which you will, I didn't do that. And then I got whipped pretty bad in the 90s. IRS,
Yeah, by the
FBI,
government.
all of them come.
You can't cheat the government.
Oh, and I think what was really frustrating about the whole thing, the first time the FBI come looking for me, the only place they could find was my parents' house
Mm.
in Hot Springs. So I roll up one night about midnight thinking I was just going to go to sleep. And mom and dad wanted to know why the FBI had been by. I said, "Oh, Lord, I have no clue." And that was back when there's all that Oliver North and the guerrillas down there in South America and stuff. There's CIA mess. Well, we did a contract for a corporation that was part of all that.
Mm.
One thing led to another. I got caught with tax evasion, but lessons learned.
Right.
If you owe it, you better pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Don't even ask no question. How much? Yeah. Some fights you just don't want to have because they're horrible. But yeah, I've experienced just about everything except for federal prison. Done several
Thankfully.
county stints, and usually fighting and drinking, cutting up.
Mm-hmm.
Had- But it just, it's who you know in life determines and what you can get away with. I learned that
True.
as a kid.
Yeah. The more people you know. I learned that from my parents, honestly. My parents know so many people. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's why you utilize resources.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way we were raised as kids. Is if you can't do it, go meet somebody that can.
Find somebody that can.
Yeah, because there's probably something you can do for them that they can't do.
Yeah, and that's so I try to talk to my best friends about
Yeah.
that. Like we just recently went out to Arizona and we all met in Sedona for one of my best friend's birthdays. But prior to that, and in that moment, I had brought them together, sat them down, and just talked about one, I care about y'all.
Right.
I love y'all.
Right.
And that's the reason why I don't want this to just
Disappear.
to disappear.
Dissolve into nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is a selfish move I'm making right because I don't want to lose you guys.
Right.
And I would like for y'all to also be selfish.
Right.
Keep me around. There are things that, like, I am into a lot of stuff. I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know how to do a lot of
Right.
things. But they know things
Right.
that I don't.
Right.
And they are efficient in things that I'm not.
Right.
And something that we've lost in our generation is that community mindset and that tribal mindset of like, hey, if you know how to do this and I know how to do this and we need
Right.
the things from each other, I'll do this for you, you do this for me, and it doesn't really matter about money and whatnot.
Right.
Like, I love you and I want you to succeed.
Right.
And that's all that matters. We can figure out the money after the fact,
Right.
if it really comes down to that. But just
Yeah.
working together and making sure that we all are like pushing through life. You know, I have one of my friends. He wants to be a millionaire before 30.
Yeah. That's a good
Genuinely,
goal.
it's cool,
Yeah.
but good luck with that. You know, like you can't do anything on your own.
Right.
You can't do anything by yourself. Like I want to see you become a millionaire. So how can I get you there?
Right.
Is my mindset. But you know, it takes a lot to get people now to really come together and do something together.
Right.
Like that's an event for us versus I would assume back in your day that was just like you said, like another Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you know, I've had to change and adapt so many times in my lifetime because of either a career choice or certain situation where I wound up somewhere that, I was new to the crowd.
Right.
And with my personality type, I had to get pretty tactful, especially not wind up dead, I mean,
Hey,
because some of the crowd I run with, had reputations anyway. But uh, today, I probably wouldn't do well as a 20-year-old.
why?
Well, there'd be somebody over there I was trying to talk to doing this, and you see my phone broke all hell too, and I'd get frustrated, you know. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, their phone?
Well, it's just I get so flustered. This technology stuff is awesome, but when you wasn't raised with it,
Mm-hmm.
not so much. Because I blame that on the root cause of a lot of the tormentation that's going on in society right now.
Yeah.
Because they'll sit here and then these kids will sit here, somebody with attitude, and they're watching on YouTube and they see all these riots in the city and little teenagers jumping on cops and getting away with it and road rage. Well, what else do you expect is going to happen? Eventually, they're going to say, well, there's nothing to this. So the next time somebody pisses them off, bam.
Yeah, because that's what they're learning. See, and it's crazy because they tried to blame that on video games.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was
No.
video games. Like okay, because this was gonna be a bad example. You know, I played Need for Speed growing up, a lot of racing games. I like it going fast in
Yeah.
real life, but that's just a choice that I
Right.
make. But I've played shooters, and not once have I ever thought about picking up a gun and going and shooting somebody.
No.
Like that's just not it. But you know, I've at least heard, because I don't really do my research in this, but people that have that looked into people who did like the school shootings and all
Yeah.
that stuff, they find their inspiration from other people who did the same
Same thing.
thing.
Yeah.
Like they all followed the same pool.
Right.
It didn't start with, oh, I was playing Call of Duty and I thought, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let me go shoot somebody. Maybe the people who join like the actual military,
Yeah.
and then they go into the military to learn that not everybody gets to join the military and shoot a gun.
Right.
Like you'll be surprised how many jobs are actually in the military, and when they look at you, there's a reason why you're going to be sitting behind a desk.
Yeah.
We're not giving you a gun, buddy.
Right.
But yeah, like I'm personally, I also have trouble when it comes to the technology. So like I see where you're coming from, but I mean, it also just depends on like your
Oh
personality,
yeah.
and whether or not you actually want to put that energy towards that.
Right.
Because we still have other hands-on stuff that you can get into. I think it more so just comes down to what's your ability to say, I want to go do this. Let me just go do it.
Right.
So I kind of feel like you would do great as a 20-year-old right now. It's the rest of us
Yeah.
that don't really have that you know, that drive to
And I
just
tell
go
you
do
what,
something.
the opportunities that are out there to make that millionaire by 30,
It's endless.
it's and you can do it quick, you know. And I try to, I push it in my classrooms. Find something that a little niche that you enjoy doing that nobody else is, and you put your background in construction management on top of that,
Mm.
you're gonna have value. Because if you know how to build structures of any kind, whether they're horizontal or vertical, you've got value.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody can go from A through Z on just about anything that's out there, you know. And you see them books over there. That's my classes for the fall.
Okay.
But that one on the very bottom, it's 30 something chapters and nothing but finishes, structure, concrete, foundation. And then the one above it's about material testing because you have to understand the properties of materials, you know. And then the one above that is mechanical, electrical, plumbing systems.
Mm-hmm.
And the one above that is statics. And I'll have two of those courses online in the fall. And I'll go down through the summer and record videos for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of compliments on this building structures class this semester because it was totally online, and it was 30, I think 34 chapters is what I put in there.
Mm.
But I did a lecture on one of them. This one kid said, "Ah, Mr. Ford, you know a little bit about everything." I said, "Yes, sir. Been doing this all my life." He said, "You don't even stop or look at nothing." I said, "Well, if once in a while you'll see I'll look over there. If I got things bulleted that
Mm.
I feel is important, I'll bullet it on a piece of paper so I won't forget it."
Right.
He said, "But man, you talked 47 minutes about concrete." I said, "Do I need to cut that down a little, you know? What's the limit? 20 minutes?" I could do it, but I'd leave out a few things.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just the fact that you can talk 47 probably plus
Yeah,
minutes about one thing.
right,
Like that just shows like your mastery of it, you know. People in my generation look
right.
at someone like you like you're a damn wizard
Yeah.
because it's like that's what I'm looking at.
Well, they appreciate the fact that I don't have them memorize. I don't believe in memorization unless you're
Yeah.
going to be an actor. And even then, you need to ad lib every once in a while just to make it sound right, you
All
know.
right. That's how Denzel did
But,
it.
but you know, it's just been, I don't know, it's my whole life has been taking a group of folks that didn't know a whole lot about what was going on, and then me teaching them or instructing them on what they needed to do to help me successfully complete the project.
Mm.
Because I'm the guy that would always pull the wagon. Because to get crews motivated, you know, I'd have master craftsmen on a job site and they'd get lackluster. Well, that Monday morning, I might have my tool belt on there working with them,
Mm-hmm.
maybe being their assistant or something, you know what I'm saying? And having that ability to step into any role kind of helps your management style
Mm-hmm.
because they won't give you any horse shit because they know you can fire them and still get through the day.
Yeah.
You're not gonna stump me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I was so one offers. Oh, I still get them on that Yahoo account I have. It's when they first started computers, early '80s, I guess. I had that whenever Yahoo was built. But companies like J.E. Dunn, they're union,
Mm-hmm.
and they're big supporters of this program here. But on that Yahoo account, I bet there's 1,500 emails from their HR folks. And I'm still getting them today.
Hmm.
We got a supervisor's job open up. Oh, thank you.
No.
No, if I could physically go back in the industry, I might. But 2018, I went back and I went from Nevada to North Carolina to work with 3 of my prior students at a company. I was the operations and safety manager for a company, and we had a lot of fun the 2.5 years I was there. But that owner out there, he just cried like a baby because I took that job down in Texas, uh, building that heavy equipment program for the incarcerated felons. I lost probably 30,000-40,000 a year and a brand new truck by leaving out there and taking that job. But if I wouldn't have done it, nobody else would have.
Right.
And I felt like with all the history I had with the guys in the industry, because most of them had records. They were tough guys. They didn't take no crap. You know what I mean? Things that happen, and just dealing with those kind of folks most of my life, I think has conditioned me to a point now where I can actually help some of these kids uh, get through it. So that's why I'm fighting so hard on this cancer mess. But never know. You just never know what your purpose in life is until you get to that and you go, well, I'm not sure if this is my purpose.
Yeah.
There might be something else out there. I've done that 1,500 times.
Well, I guess how do you like know that like you're in that moment?
To me, it's a mental thing because I self-evaluate all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You have to with personality like mine and a temperament like mine.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main reasons I never did really get too worried about locking into a relationship is my temper uh, sometimes is pretty short, which is a lot better since I hadn't really had any problems 10, 15 years, but there's always that potential.
Right.
You know what I'm
Someone.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
I've got my good mask on, my Bobby mask is what I call it. But Rooster's still over here in the closet because Rooster is who I am.
It's still you.
It's still me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't regulate Rooster, well, nobody. And that was one of the main reasons I never reached out into relationships because I knew there was a potential there for hardship. And when I'm talking hardship, I mean not wailing on somebody, but the mental hardships. There's heartbreaks, there's heartaches, the mental side of that kind of personality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I hate narcissists so bad. I'll pull one out of a crowd and I'll embarrass them in front of everybody.
Mm.
Yeah, that's
Like you mean like a show off?
no. A narcissist is a manipulator. It's never their
Oh.
fault. Except you just misunderstood.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anything, and they're always turning it back away from them, even though it's their particular fault or their particular situation that they created.
Yes, I don't like them either.
No,
I met a
accept
lot of people
responsibility.
like that
You
in
did it,
college.
accept it, you done it, get
Mm-hmm.
over it. Hopefully, amend your ways.
Mm-hmm.
But folks that get away with it and get away with it, get away with it, that's like a scammer. They're talking about these people buying cards and sending them off to somebody that's going to give them $1 million. But you got to send me this fee before I give you the money.
Yeah.
Me, that's a good, true sign of a narcissist.
Mm.
They're manipulators.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I'm learning to chill. more, especially since I moved here to Missouri, and when they started this cancer mess, they prescribed all them Dilaudid. Gosh, if you take one of them, you're gone for 6 hours.
Mm.
You know, I couldn't live like that, so I've started going back to my roots, and now mentally I'm getting like Cheech and Chong kind of thing. I'm kind of, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting back into the days. And I was thinking the other day about Willie Nelson. When I was younger, I crossed paths with him at many a club. And, he always did the 420 thing before
Yeah.
everything. And when my doctor was asking me about pain management, I said, well, we're in Missouri. I said, let's just do the 420 thing,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that one time, like, because I know you were talking about like the pain and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't, like, do you?
Yeah, I smoke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's my feng shui.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get worked up no more. But if I need one of them, a lot of things, they're over there. Usually at nighttime,
Mm-hmm.
because THC doesn't last that long. Uh, I'll have to take one of those Dilaudid, that it helps me sleep all the way through and
Okay.
not waking up pain and stuff.
Good.
Hopefully they'll figure out this radiation stuff. The clinic they sent me to Monday down in Clinton,
Mm-hmm.
it's not on my insurance. They said the closest one was St. Luke's. That's over at Kansas, but 65 miles away.
Yeah. Either pay an arm and a leg or drive
There's no way
across the
I'd drive
universe.
to Kansas City every day. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Go over and get a treatment and then drive back through all that mess.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. So I got some soul searching. I got chemo in the morning. I'm going to ask them about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one in, was it Salida, but it's not in our system either. I don't know why they don't have one here. Radiation clinic.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's pretty good stuff.
Were you? What's up, kids? Um. So yeah, that interview, and that's, I guess, also part of the reason why I didn't want to post it, is like the camera ended up turning off. I really, thinking back on it now, I know we were sitting there talking for a while, and that was like an hour. That was like a good hour of just talking. But I think we probably went like another 30 minutes past the point that like it stopped. And I just didn't notice. That's the reason why this phone shit kind of, it sucks. But you know, I don't really have the words. Yeah, man. Hope you liked it.